everyone, Grandpa the Nerd here, and welcome to a new segment I'd like to call Grandpa's Media Review. Instead of going, okay, I do the movies, this is just encompasses anything. It could be a book, it could be a comic book, it could be a movie, it could be a TV show, it could be an album. Just I review anything media related. That way I can, be lazy and just keep the same opening and just change, you know what I'm saying. I'm a lazy guy. You won't see a lot of flashy stuff here because, well, I'm lazy. I could do it. It wouldn't look good. I'm not a professional, but it wouldn't look good. But I could still do it. But anyway, here's my first episode of my first segment, whatever you want to call it, of Grandpa's Media Review. And I'm starting off with a doozy. Many, many moons ago, I'm talking, early 2000s, I was a manager at a long-lost place called Funcoland. Great place to work, I loved it, and then the other people came along and bought it, and it turned to shit. But I was a manager at a Funcoland, and there was another gentleman from another store, and he came in, and he took over the store I was at, and I went to another store. Anyway, that's not the important. The important thing is he had some anime on VHS. And I'm a huge anime fan, but I've only really gotten deep into it over the last couple of years, maybe decade. There's a lot of people out there, but one I'll point out is Richard Clark. I watch his posts and see what he talks about, and he's opened my eyes to a lot of other anime. Now, for like Robotech, I love Robotech, but when back in the day, I didn't know it was 3 different shows. I was just an American who, I lived in Atlanta and then in Georgia. I didn't really have a lot of access to anime. And I have a video if you want to go back and look at my list where I talk about Robotech, where I didn't have access. Like he grew up on the West Coast. There were anime stores, big Asian community. I didn't have that, so for the longest time I didn't know. I just thought it was a different art style than Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Bugs Bunny, Flintstones. But I didn't know. I knew it wasn't American. I could tell it didn't come from this country with the names, but I thought it was legit. I didn't know it was 3 different shows spun into one thing to make, I didn't know all that. And as time has gone on, I got into more and more. I mean, when I was a kid, I saw Vampire Hunter D. It aired on Cinemax one night. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I saw Speed Racer. Didn't know it was Makagogo. all that kind of stuff. But I still was just on the surface. I was a little bit, if you want to call it an iceberg, but not in one of those negative, ooh, spooky iceberg thing. I was still at the top. I knew a little bit of what was going on, and it was this, Dragon Ball, this, that, but I wasn't deep into it. And over the years, even still to this day, I'm learning stuff I didn't know before. I'm not ashamed to admit I don't know everything. And so, anyway, at this point in time, I didn't know about, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, so I don't know. They refer to it as hentai. I just call it adult anime. I wasn't I knew it existed, but I wasn't that aware of it. And that's when I got introduced to what I'm about to talk about today. What I'm about to talk about today, definitely not for kids. But I'm not going to show any images or anything, but some of the descriptions, some of the words that come out of my mouth might be a little adult orientated, but this isn't for kids. Definitely not for kids. But it's an anime called Urotsukidoji. I don't know how to pronounce it. I might pronounce it both ways, the entire thing. It'll be all right. You'll live. And if it drives you nuts, I'm sorry. But Urotsukidoji, I'll try to stick to that one. But it's probably Doji, but what am I? I'm just, a redneck from Georgia. Anyway, Urotsukidoji. And he had it on VHS. I said, what is this? Because he had a whole box of anime. And it said warning and all that on it. And I'm like, what is this? He goes, oh, this is pretty good. You want to try it? So I borrowed it from him. And took the VHSs home, and I was like, what? It was edited. It blurred out stuff that you didn't want. It's from Japan. At the time, I didn't know they were really big into blurring everything. So, but I like the story. Unlike adult entertainment here, the 80s and 70s, some of that adult entertainment, they tried to put a story in there, or it did have a story. And then here and there throughout the years, like with pirates and whatnot, yeah, you know I'm a perv. I know these names, but they had stories to them. Good or bad's not the issue. They had stories. They weren't little peep things for the little booths or anything like on the New York and Times Square back in the day. But anyway, it was all blurred, but it was still very sexual. But it had a very good story, and I liked the story angle on it. I liked the way that was. So I liked them. I thought, oh, this is cool, but I give them back to them. You borrow something from somebody, they want it back. So a lot of time went by, and I would occasionally look for it. Look for it because I wanted them. And I think it was only 4 VHS tapes, I do believe. Could have been 3, I'm not sure. But anyway, my point here is I really wanted to find these things. And I looked and looked and looked and looked. And one day, by my amazement, it showed up on a web search. And I got my first one. And that would be this one. Urotsukidoji, The Perfect Collection. It's 2 discs, over 4 hours, and there's your little absolutely not for children. And they're not kidding. Now, I don't have a lot of anime that's adult-orientated. Not because, there are some people who really like it, and I'm not judging. I don't do that. But for me, I like the story of it. It's not so much about the sex and the nudity. It's more of the story. It's just, there's just something about them. Like, I've seen this, talks about La Blue Girl. I've seen it, but I don't own it. The only thing I own outside of Urotsukidoji is I own Bible Black. But it's stories for me. And I like they have, romantic ones, but I like demons. I like demons and monsters and horror, so this went right up my alley. But I picked this one up, and there's the back, more warnings, got some special stuff on here. 2 discs, just basic 2 discs, two disc, slip of the tongue, 2 disc set. And I really like this. It's got a great story about demons. Like here it says, every 3,000 years, the realms of demons, humans, and man-beast are united by the revival of the hideously powerful Overfiend, whose coming means chaos and destruction. Demons and fiends scour the human world for signs of his coming. 2 such creatures, Amano Jaku and his sister Megumi, have tracked the Overfiend to the unlikely place. I don't know how to pronounce these very well, so I apologize. Myojin University in Japan. And after a night of horrific revelations, their lives will be changed forever. Now, it's NC-17. It's adult-orientated. I do recall. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I watched them. The brain ain't working like it used to be. The first three on here, the first 3 episodes on this disc, Birth of the Overfiend, I had to write it down because I can barely see it, Curse of the Overfiend, and Final Inferno, those were released by Penthouse, and then they didn't release any more. And then on disc 2, there's 2 remaining episodes. One called Legend of the Demon Womb, and Battle at the Shinjuku skyscrapers. So there's 5 parts to this. But close the phone. There we go. Penthouse, I do believe what I read, released the first 3. And then for some reason, he was like, Bob Guccione was like, I don't know. Maybe he was too busy trying to remaster or something with Caligula. I don't know the deal. But they did release 3. I think it was Penthouse. I don't know which play. It was Penthouse. And then the other 2 came out from somebody else. You'd have to Google it. I'm here for more of an opinion piece than facts. I'm just going by what my wicked brain can remember. But I like the artwork. I like the story. I like the demons. I like the gore and the violence because I'm into that kind of thing. Some people like it. It doesn't mean anything. Don't judge me. I like horror. I like gore. I like violence. I just think it can be entertaining. Violence for violence sakes, maybe not. But, it has its place, and if I find it entertaining, and a lot of people do. So I got this one, and it came in the mail. Couldn't wait. Ripped the sucker open. And then when nighttime came, kids went to bed, I watched them. I do believe I binged it over 2 days. I may have watched it the entire night. I am not sure. It's been a while. I got these in it was it had to have been early 2000s. 2000, 2001, somewhere on there. To me, 2002. I'm not sure. Where we were living at the time, we left in 2009. So it was definitely between 2000 and the time I left. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. But then I got confused because I was looking and this next one that I bought popped up. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I bought this one, and it still says the same thing. From the creator Lila Blue Girl, which you would do because it's who that is. But it's called the Urotsukidoji Saga Hell on Earth. And it's a 4-set. And it's got the same thing on the back about every 3,000 years, But the quote at the top says, Urotsukidoji is exemplary of the darkest and most disturbing side of Japanese animation. There is poetry and violence and beauty in the vile. A certain grand Genegal appeal in its monstrous scope. The Village Voice. So I bought this one, and I had it sent in, and I noticed it was different. It has Legend of the Overfiend, Legend of the Demon Wound, Return of the Overfiend, and Inferno Road. And I was confused because between this and the other one, there's a lot of similarities. But this one was a 4-disc set. It came with Legend of the Overfiend, Legend of the Demon Womb, and then it came nothing. They're covered up, but you could tell. Return of the Overfiend, and the last one, Inferno Road. And I was confused. Because, the road to hell is paved with blood, and this is the final battle, but it confused me. So what I understood and what I still understand to this day, it's a good set. I like it. My Cold Dead Hands. These two will be sold one day, but not until I'm in my little ash can. But here's the backside of it. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this set, but it's from Anime 18. I don't know if they're around anymore. Like I said, this and Bible Black's all I own, or these two Urotsukidojis in the Bible Black. But anyway, if you like demon stuff, demons and monsters and crazy gore, let's take the sex out of it for a second. If you took every graphic scene of sex, which this one is a lot more edited than the other one. There's sex, but there's no blurred or nothing because they the way it was done and drawn, it's more edited. I know a lot of people want to see unedited versions of this, but to me, it's about the story. I don't really care if I ever see uncut. I don't even think there is any. People say there's unedited versions out there, but I think when it comes to unedited, this is the closest thing you're going to get. But I could be wrong. I'm not an anime expert, but I do believe this is as close as you're going to get to uncensored, the perfect collection. But like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not an expert. You'd have to ask an expert. I would still, as much, I have a lot more anime. I'm going to do more of these episodes of some of my anime I have upstairs, like Demon Lady, or, Demon Lady? Devil Lady, and other stuff that I have, Initial D, talk about that. There's so much stuff I have. I have a lot of anime, but I'm still nowhere near an expert. Crunchyroll subscriber, Retro Crush. I love anime, and I still find new stuff to this day. I stay away from the romantic stuff, though. My daughter's into all that fruit baskets and stuff. Not my thing. I'm more of the violence, gore, horror, and big giant robots. But I do like, Cowboy Bebop. Boom, 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 boom. I like that kind of stuff. But I'm no expert. But I think this is about as you're going to get. But if you take all that sex out of it, and look at Urotsukidoji without the sex, you've got a good monster story here. You've got a good story about good versus evil and demons, and I don't, but when you throw it in the way it's packaged, the way it's done, I see why you're just a pervert. You're just one of them tentacle freaks. It's like, dude, that's not what it is for me. And I'm sure a lot of people out there who watch this kind of stuff, that's not the main focus. It's they can take adult situations like sex and put it detailed and graphic, but put it into something with a good story. And it's like Caligula. Caligula is not the best movie by far. By far, it's not a very good movie. But you see, there's a lot of movies out there that followed that trail. Henry and June, The Brown Bunny, where there's explicit sex in the movie. And that's what got it controversial and got people to freaking flock to see it. But if you took that, if you took that out of it, you still have a story. Where straight up pornography is not, that's just a thrill. That's just something to get your rocks off. That's just something to, when you want to be with your loved one and your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, however you roll. That's there to spice things up for lonely days, whatever your reasoning. But there's nothing to it. People get paid a lot of money to do it, but there's no story. It's just get your rocks off kind of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I like it when they include it into something. It just feels, when you watch a movie like Brown Bunny and that one scene that everybody knows about comes up, it feels real. Like, oh, okay, this might have happened to you doing all this, and then you go home and, you know what I mean? So it's like, like Caligula. I don't know what life was like during the Roman times, but from everything I read, Caligula himself was a real perverted bastard no one liked. One of the worst leaders of Rome. That's what I've read. I don't know. I wasn't there. But if that's how it was, then the movie was kind of trying to of course they lied to people and filmed the pornographic scenes later. And then he put them in there. And then when people saw it, some of the actors had a fit. What the hell? What are you doing to us? But, he was trying to make it realistic to what he thought Caligula's Rome was like. And if you take out the pornography, you still got a biography. But I like that realism. So, this obviously, there's no realism to this. Because for one, it's animated. And for two, it's about demons and monsters. But I like the story. And the way they incorporated the sex, it made a lot of sense. It worked. It just worked for me. So, now there's a network that I work with but I could just say I work for. I do a show for called The Music Moment. And if you have a Roku, just look up, B Movie TV. B Movie TV. It's on the Roku, and it's a great channel. He shows lots of commercials and music videos, and I have a show there called The Music Moment. But the bread and butter of that network is the movies that he shows. He shows the theme nights, like you have your martial arts night, and you have your sci-fi night, and your horror night, and then he's got shows on the weekends. There's hosted shows. Ken does a great job with B Movie TV. Anyway, if you go to Roku, go to the store, B Movie TV's there. Well, anyway, he does a Saturday morning anime. He showed, I don't know if it was, I can't remember how many of these. It's the one, but he did have an episode on there. I don't know if he airs all four. I think maybe he only aired one episode. It's the one where the Nazis use the sex machine to drain the women. That one I do remember seeing there. Everything in my brain runs together, so I don't know if I've seen all four on B Movie TV, but I know I've seen one of them on B Movie TV. But that was the first time. I hadn't watched them in a long time. They were just sitting in a box. They were just sitting in a box on a shelf. They were sitting in a box, and I hadn't watched them in like forever. I moved here to Wisconsin in 2010, and I don't think I had watched them. And then when I got, watching B Movie TV, he aired it one Saturday morning. I was like, damn, I haven't watched Urotsukidoji in so long. So I broke them out, and I watched them again. And to this day, it still confuses me, the two differences. But, and I don't watch them back to back, so that's probably more. If I watched all of these If I watched this one and binged them and watched them back to back, I'd probably really be able to figure out the differences and be like, "Yo, okay." But as much as I like them, I couldn't do that. I'd pluck my eyes out because I'd be like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." Like I love Robotech, but I only watch it once a year. If I tried to watch it more than once a year, I'd go nuts. But that's not just because it's anime. It's anything. I like NYPD Blue, but I can only watch it once a year. The only thing I really do that's really eye gouging is once a year I watch the Star Wars holiday special, and people think I'm insane, but hey, you got to do you, right? So, if you're interested in something like this, you should check out. They go for a lot of money. I think it's on Blu-ray, so it might be cheaper. I don't know. They remade it again. I don't know. I'm happy with what I got. I don't need to branch out and get a different version of it. I'm happy with what I got. But if you're into, that's how you spell it. Urotsukidoji. So if you're into this kind of thing, by all means, see if you can find it somewhere. But like I said, it's a little expensive. I think both of them go for like almost $200. I don't know. When I bought them, I paid dirt cheap because, I paid like $69 for the one and like $59 for this one because I bought them new. So, I don't know what they're worth now, but I don't know if you can buy them new. I think you can only get it used. But like I said, you'd have to look. But I showed it to you. You can go online. You can see if you can find it yourself. So, but if you like horror, it's really gory and really sexual. But it's got a good story. But it is offensive. Some people are gonna be like, oh, "You like this crap? What's wrong with you?" There's a lot wrong with me. But I've always wanted to talk about it, and I don't really see much about it anywhere. You can find articles written about it, but I don't see a lot of people talk about it. So I figured, you know what? I'll talk about it. I'll take a bullet. I'll take society's bullet and get shamed because I watched it. But hey, some people watch all sorts of stuff. We're all different. We're all different. I can go to somebody's YouTube page and they can be talking about fruit baskets or, some romantic comedy. And I could be like, how can you watch that crap? And it's, and there's nothing wrong with it. We just all have our own different tastes. Just this is frowned upon by most people. Even people who love the goriest of horror movies would be like, you like that stuff? That's perverted. That's sick. So to each their own, but I'll talk about it. I think if you're an anime fan, you're a horror fan, and you don't mind the occasional explicit sex, then this is something you should try to find. If Grandpa was going to give it anything, if I had a 5-star, rating or something, which I don't, but if I did, I'd give it a 3. It's not that bad. I prefer to watch, Initial D or Demon Man or Dragon. Devil Man or Devil Lady or Record of Lodos War. I'd rather watch that. Slayers. But this isn't bad for what it is. Which Slayers, I think it's down here. Yeah, there's my PS4. Yeah. See? I got all the Slayer stuff down here. All 3 box sets. Evolution and Revolution I don't have down here, but I'll be talking about this. Xbox version of BMX XXX. I'm a perv, told you. Anyway, I'd give it a 3, maybe a 2. But for me, look, I'm the kind of guy that I can look at something and say, man, I like that. That was good. But you may be like, but then I can say, well, it sucks. I go, how can you like it but say it sucks? Because I can see things from other people's point of views. Take, for example, the last Star Wars film. I didn't hate it. Was it the greatest thing ever? No. But I didn't hate it. I liked it. But I can see where people say, oh, it sucked. Well, I see why they say that. And that's why I get along with so many people. Because I see it from other points of view. I could think it's the greatest thing ever, but when someone says it sucks, I go, well, I see why. I can see why you said that. So Urotsukidoji to me could be a 0 star, and I'd still like it. I can see where people wouldn't like it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and spin you a yarn. It is what it is. Most people probably aren't going to like it. There's a lot of anime fans out there who are probably going to think it's the worst thing ever. But I'm pretty sure there's worse stuff than this. At least they never tried to freaking live action it like they did Devilman. You don't want to see that. So, anyway, if you're interested, you can check it out. Go online, see if you can find any information about it. But like I said, if you're into horror, first off, if you like anime and you're into horror and you don't mind explicit sex, then Urotsukidoji is something you should definitely check out. So that's it. That's all I got for you. I don't know what I'm going to do next. Could be anime, could be a video game, could be a movie. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. I'm getting sick. It's deteriorating. It's turning to mush. So who knows what I'm going to do. But make sure you check out B-Movie TV on the Roku if you have one. Just go to the store, B-Movie TV, little icon, B-Movie TV with the flames. You won't regret it. Not everything on there is going to be for you, but there's going to be a lot because it's 80s, 70s, 90s. Anything that like bombed or sucked or people hated is going to be on there. And B-Movie TVs are always usually cult classics, so you need to check it out. Like I said, Ken does a great job, so make sure you go there. You can go livingmedia.org. That's the website for Living Media. He makes great movies. I got some movie posters back here. Death Park, The End, Like Father, Like Daughter. Ken's the movie director too. Not only does he run and own B-Movie TV, he makes movies. I've done some reviews of the movies here on the channel, so make sure you check those out. But yeah, livingmedia.org. And none of these are paid sponsors. This is people I work with. Just want you to know about them. Livingmedia.org. You can go to his store. You can buy his movies, his merchandise. You can go to grandpasplaylist.com, buy my merchandise. Don't forget Vortex-Radio. That's where I got a bunch of shows. Living in the Past, Neighbors Talking Shit, Grandpa's Playlist, Soothing Sounds, Instrumental Insanity, Rocking the Decades with Grandpa. I got a bunch of shows over there. So you can check those out, vortex-radio.com. Plus, there's a lot of other great shows on there. The Pohub Music Show, Soothing Sound, or Z's Cheese. Check it out, vortex-radio.com. Everything is there. But with that being said, check out Urotsukidoji if you feel like you would like to. Check it out if you think you'd like it. And what can I say? Until next time, I'm Grandpa the Nerd, and I will have yourself a wonderful time, and I will talk to you later.